Okay, all right, welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Lindsay Barth, and this is the B4 podcast, and we are well on our way through 2026. Beverly 400 is upon us, and every month we have new events. And this month, we have a ton of things going on. May 16th, we have our night circus, and if you don't have tickets to this, I don't know if there's even tickets available. I'm going to shout out to Heather in the back. Oh my God, there's tickets available still. Folks, you're not going to want to miss this event. I'm not even going to tell you much about it. You literally can't pay to be at this venue any other way other than to buy a ticket to the night circus. So head on over May 16th. And then at the end of this month, we have our PorchFest. And I'm really excited because my guest here today is going to talk to us a little bit about the history of live music in Beverly, his experience of live music in Beverly, and we're going to talk PorchFest because there's some great things that he's going to be doing with us then. But that's May 30th, and I am so excited and a little nervous about this episode.
I do that to people.
I'm going to introduce our guest right now. This is, my gosh. When I think Beverly guy, when I think just a community builder in Beverly, I think of you.
Oh,
I'm
welcome.
One
of a big village. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Welcome, Richie Marino. Let's see, how many hats do you wear? Co-founder of the Cabot, helping bring that back to life. Owner of Chianti Restaurant and Jazz Lounge. In the band Rule of Three, which we'll talk a little bit about later, and husband of a pure angel, Josie.
That's why all those other things have worked.
Yeah,
and that's the truth. Chianti, none of those things work if she doesn't give me the time, if she doesn't give me the support. Josie is definitely the power behind the throne. Trust me, she is amazing. No matter what I do, every morning I woke up and I was forgiven for the day before. We get to start fresh, so she's an angel.
Well, we love her for it, and we are so happy to have you here. Rich, thanks for being on the show.
I'm honored to be here. I do love Beverly, but I don't think I'm any more significant than anyone else in this town. What makes the town is all these people that all bring this energy, and I was very lucky to moved to Beverly in '88, and almost immediately I grabbed an apartment because I'd become a salesman on the North Shore. And
what were you selling?
I was actually in the paint industry. I was selling paint. Oh. Yes, and so I had paint stores throughout the North Shore, but the smallest was a little one down the street here, which ultimately I converted into Chianti. And so I used to sell paint for 4 years there before it was a restaurant.
So that space that was something to you before it even
all
became...
The way. I used to go there every Wednesday, bring a Dunkin' Donuts to Larry Batchel, who ran, it was called O'Hara's Paint Store, go down and do my inventory. And then all the years I had Chianti, I used to have the salesman come in on Wednesday. That was still the day that we would do all the business. But I moved in on a snowy December night, and the first thing I did is I threw my stuff in the apartment and walked down Cabot Street, and all I saw was potential and beauty. It's it was still hurting from the years of when the United Shoe had shut down, and there were just a lot of vacant stores. But all you looked and you went, this is supposed to be the place, And I've been so lucky to watch this through the front windows of Chianti. I think when my day is done at Chianti, not seeing the world through those windows and watching this town come back to life, like that will kill me because I love that. It's just been the greatest honor of my life, Such a great chapter.
Well, you've been a big part of it, right? I mean, you watched that vision, you saw the vision, and then you brought some of that back. You brought music to the city. You brought a new restaurant. Tell us about how did you see a vision of Chianti out of a paint shop? Sure.
Well, it's funny. A bunch of things happened. Originally, it wasn't going to be a full restaurant. It was going to be a dessert place, like kind of Cafe Vittoria in the North End.
Sure.
And so I used to think, what happened is I moved to town. My girlfriend and I would go to the Cabot Theater, and there was nowhere to go afterwards. Mm-hmm. And I used to be like, where's that little place, like North End type place? So I actually went to Cafe Vittoria, and I told the owners what I wanted to do. And I said, I'd like to work here, but I don't want to be in the payroll. I'll work for free. All I want is 10 minutes to ask questions about your business. So I did that for a whole summer. And I was going to open up a Cafe Vittoria all the way back in '92. But somewhere along the way, I ate some stupid pills and decided to go in the full restaurant business instead. And thank God for the cookbooks of Lorenzo de Medici. I based it off of that and found my way. I didn't have much experience in this business at all. And but what I found is because I didn't have that, it worked to my advantage. I built it with my own hand. So every time someone walked through the door from the first day to this day, I still go, wow, they came here? I can't believe they came here. And that excitement has never left me. That I remember in the summer of '92, I was building the restaurant, and all the vendors were giving us free samples of wine.
Oh, yeah.
So I would open the doors on summer nights, and I'd wake people over from the cabin and go, come inside, let me show you what I'm doing. I don't know if one person said, that sounds like a great idea. They're like, an upscale restaurant in Beverly in the paint store. So they were so not believing me that for the first 6 months, it was a 1-room, 10-table restaurant. We dressed in tuxedos. So people were walking around going, do you hear about these schmucks in tuxedos serving upscale food in the old paint store? And we did for 6 months until we got our first female waiter, and then we got off the tuxes. But it was a way to kind of say we can do it.
Yeah.
And we were blessed because the day before us, Tapas Corner opened up, which is where Rapture is.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, there's this trilogy. All of a sudden, people go into the cabin and go, what's that place across the street, Chianti? People in Chianti going, what's that place, Tapas? And it took the three together, the rule of three,
hey.
The magic works like that, and it created a synergy. And suddenly there was a little buzz about this little corner in Beverly that was there supporting what the Cabot was doing and kind of coming together. It was pretty crazy.
That's amazing. And then when did you see Chianti kind of shifting into hosting live music, and when did the stage go in? And
sure. Well, look, this is an
there?
honest podcast, so I'm going to be honest, right?
Oh,
So
I love
think
it.
I had the restaurant maybe 16, 17 years, and I noticed something. Here we were successful. A lot of people would like to be able to walk downtown and say, hey, I'm the guy from this restaurant, right? But I found that if I was in public and someone said, hey, do you know Rich from Chianti? Part of me was recoiling. And I was always like, what is that? I should be proud of what we're doing here in this and how hard the staff works. And I started going for a lot of walks and saying, what are you missing? And I realized that as I peeled back the layers that I loved music. I played music when I was young, and I always thought I would at least give it a shot. I hadn't played in a band since high school, and life, John Lennon, life is what happens while you're making other plans. So here I was. I realized that I had succeeded at plan B. And I realized, wow, I'm going to go through life without even taking a shot at A. How did that happen? So at the time, I thought, I'm going to open up a music place because we need one. And I just want to be around musicians. I wasn't playing. I had no intention of playing. I was just going I wanted to be around musicians. So I built it to be complete again so that when someone said Chianti, I'd be like, yeah, it's that place. Now food and music together, that's authentically me. So but the crazy thing is, literally as I was building it, I had some friends harassing me about would I play with them. And I'm like, okay, I'm 45. I just knocked out my wife and I'm building a jazz club. Don't think I have time to be in a band, but they were relentless, the great Danny Vitelli, and I joined a band called the Skatey Cats, and so it wound up being a blessing because I had to wear both hats, that of a venue holder and a band going out, so it made me a better venue holder because I know how you get treated, how not to get treated, and it made me a better musician because I know what not to do in a place, and so when I formed Rule of Three, one of the reasons that we're all acoustic is I saw a place that would go in and get obnoxiously loud and hurt the dining experience. So it all just kind of came together. And I was so grateful because, for me, Beverly is a dream place for me, that I got to live my dreams of having a window to watch the world. And I tried a restaurant. Would anybody actually come? And they actually came and supported that dream. Now I'm building, in the Great Recession of '09, I'm going to build a jazz club, the least profitable music since music was invented. And I'm like, okay, now I'm really brilliant, right? So you open it, will anybody show? And they came again, And so I'm just grateful that the people I've gotten to work with, the people I've gotten to meet, I always, honestly wake up every day saying, I can't believe that this happened. I feel really lucky.
Wow. Well, I mean, you've built something pretty incredible. And I will share, I don't think I've even told you this. I was living out in Western Mass before I moved to Beverly.
Yeah.
And I was working at a small music school. And I decided, I've never taken music instrument lessons in my life. Piano, let's try piano. So I started lessons, and I was working with a man named Stephen Page. And when I moved to Beverly, one of the first walks I went on, I'm taking a little walk down Cabot, I walk past Chianti, and there in the window is a poster for Stephen Page to be playing jazz piano at your club.
Sure, that's awesome.
What an amazing, he's coming from all the way out in Western Mass. You have built this hub, this mecca of people are traveling in to see what you have created. It's pretty awesome.
It is pretty crazy, right? And to me, it's all, our business, everybody, you're all trying to put in something to make a reason to make Beverly great, right? And I love that when I hear those stories that someone came into the restaurant, or I remember I had an elderly woman walk into the restaurant like a decade ago. She walks into the jazz club, she looks up at the stage, she goes, "My God, that's my son, my grandson, he's a drummer, he's from New York. He had come in to do this gig." So she goes into the dining room to eat. I still remember it was table 8, and I walked up later on and I said to her, "Wow, that's so cool that you come here and you find your grandson." And she said, "You want to hear something else great?" And she touches the brick wall. She goes, "I watched every one of these bricks go up." I said, "Excuse me?" She goes, "I used to live upstairs. My dad built this." And she said, "Do you know there's a plaque out front?" I said, "It says 1926, right?" She goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "My dad, I remember watching him put that up," we're actually, the building's 100 years old this year.
Wow.
And so it was one of these kind of, the type of magic has always happened. When I first decided to build the club, tell me when to stop. I remember when I was building the restaurant, you probably can't. When I was building the restaurant, this is how it went. I remember I'm building this thing out of like no budget. And a guy walked in off the street one day and he was a contractor and we're talking. And I said, I'm trying to find those kind of green mossy, like, warehouse lamps to put in the restaurant for lights. He looks at me and goes, "You kidding me?" I go, "What?" He goes, "I got them in the back of my truck. I just got it out of warehouse today." And he gives them to me, right?
What?
A week later, a guy sits in, and this is before we had, all these coffee shops like, Starbucks or obviously Atomic. Espresso wasn't a big thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
Guy walks in a week later, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to do this shop." I go, "But I got to find like this beautiful espresso machine." He goes, "I was drunk at a bar, at a club at Burlington Marriott last night, and so I just had to sit on the couch and relax before I drove. And there were 2 managers sitting on the other couch saying, they want to sell their espresso machine because no one ever uses it. I was down the next day and I bought it. And it's this beautiful brass and copper machine."
I've seen, you have a lovely espresso machine. That's a nice piece.
Someday I'll give you the tour of the basement. I've got almost a little museum of those old machines, and so I do love them. So it just felt from day one there was this destiny and
something in the universe was bringing what you needed to you.
Yeah, well, the secret of success is get out of the way, right? It's just there. Just let it flow. It'll work its way out,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's amazing. Well, it's been such a journey to watch. I know COVID obviously was such a difficult time for so many of our businesses in Beverly, but something kind of cool is going on now. I mean, Chianti is coming back. What's going on?
It's percolating a little bit.
What's going on
I should
over
say
there?
with COVID, when COVID hit, I had some very dear friends who were at the bar the week before the world shut down, and by the end of March 2020, they sat at the bar. Probably that weekend of March 8th, I guess it must have been, of 2020, and there were 3 of them at the bar. By the end of March 2020, 2 had passed from COVID, and 1 was in a coma for 36 days, and it really rocked my world. And as I stayed home, I learned a lot that for all the stuff I was known for, maybe. I wasn't impressed with who I was. When I was spending time at home, I realized, my son and wife had a get-up routine. My son was 11 at the time that Dad never saw because I get at 3 a.m. And they had a dinner routine that I never saw. Dad served dinner. They had a go-to-bed routine that Dad never saw. I had thought I was a good dad. I thought I was popping in a lot, but I didn't like what I saw. He was living like a fatherless kid, and she was living like a widow. So I really worked hard to be a better version of me, to be a better husband and a better dad. And I remember a year into COVID, my son, one day, I came home, my son was now 12, he walks up to me, gives me this hug. I go, "What's that for?" And he goes, "I know it's been a tough year for you, Dad, but it's been the best of my life." And that's all I needed, right?
Oh, geez.
And then he went up, so then I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna get rid of Chianti, I'm gonna stay home. Then a year later, he said to me, "Dad, I know you want to be home with me, but I need to work. Why don't you start doing private stuff and I'll be your sous chef?" And he did. Him and I worked, we started doing parties together, And so now he's in high school, I'm not that cool anymore. But at the time it was really great. And
That's amazing.
so he kind of kept it going. I turned down a lot of offers to sell the building, some things that I just didn't think were in Beverly's interest. They were in my pocketbook's interest, but not in Beverly's interest. I talked to some wonderful groups about buying it. And then I always had a hesitation because first of all, I worried I still had a little in the gut that I haven't finished getting out yet. And I was terrified about how much I'd miss it, to be honest with you. There's nothing that makes me happy than when people walk in the door at Chianti. I just love being there. And so I know my time has to come and I got to pass it on at some point, but it is not easy. So what's happened lately is this. Every day I tell my wife, yes, I'll sell. And then every day I open up a few more days and start doing more things. So
Josie is a saint.
Oh God, is she? It's how's the sale going? Great. We're now, for instance, we are now open. The bar is now open Thursdays through Saturdays days. It's our first fixed hours since COVID. And
Incredible.
So that's really fun. We had a fun night last night. We actually were trying out a guitarist for Rule of Three. So we had an open audition so people could watch this kid audition.
No pressure.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to throw him in the fire. You can see what I don't have time to figure out over time what they got. And he did a great job. I think he will be a member of this band.
That's great.
And
trial by fire.
yes, and then I guess because you're Lindsay and I can't hold back from you. So I'll tell you a little secret that sometime in the next week or two, we are going to take the patio and turn it into a gelato place. We're about to do gelato and cannolis. And
You are hearing this first, folks.
if you saw me an hour ago, I was in painter's clothes. So it's and even though I haven't
Back to
even
your
finished
roots.
building the room, even though the room isn't ready in any way, today there is several $100s worth of gelato showing up at Chianti because I'm going to sell it tomorrow night because it's big night and there's a mom crawl. And even though the place isn't done, we're going to sell gelato and cannolis. So we're going. So
Obsessed with this. This is incredible. People are clapping in the back. This is amazing. Wow. And what a full circle moment because you set out to make this a dessert space and now here you are.
And that's what I have been saying to my wife. I said, listen, give me a summer. And I said, I need to complete the circle. Exactly right. And I said, I have to come back to where I began. I loved when I got to be a big shot and wear blazers and have an upscale restaurant. We have wonderful upscale restaurants in town. They don't need me doing that anymore. I want to return to where I started. Let the young people do that stuff. I'm happy seeing people and giving them some delicious gelato. Or we have something called colossal cannolis that are these huge shells that I make that are just monstrous. So we'll have regulars, but we'll also have colossal cannolis available. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that is exciting. Thank you for sharing that on the podcast.
Only you.
I'm so excited.
I hadn't planned on announcing it yet, but I can.
But here we are.
You pull the truth from me. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you. That is awesome. So exciting.
It is kind of exciting. Yes. I have to say, my lights turned on when the lights turned on the gelato machine a couple of days ago. I was like, oh my God, this is really going to happen. So
Amazing. Now, I feel like you obviously created this hub of live music happening in Beverly, but there's other spaces in Beverly. Beverly seems to just continue to bring out this creativity, and live music seems to be our medium. Where else have you seen like incredible live music scenes here, and
sure,
through
the
history?
backbeat and oh my God, there's been they pop up it changes because the restaurant scene is always changing.
Yeah,
the places that play, but look before Chianti there were corners too. We just wanted to give them a stage, and I know again I'm in a bar. I know what it's like to be playing next to the TV with the game on behind you. You think people are cheering for you, then you look up and you go, oh, it was a goal, And so
Right.
one thing when I built Chianti is that the only TVs in there, as you know, only show the stage because I would go into restaurants and see people with these beautiful faces like yours, and instead their date or husband would be looking over the shoulder at the score on the game. And I'm like, not in our place. We're going to look in the women's eyes. I wanted to build a music place where the women don't feel like they have to take a shower when they go home. And so there's always been wonderful places to see music and different types. I mean, there were great dive bars that have great music, but we were trying to do something just a little bit more on that, But the scene, it was alive. When Chianti wasn't doing music, the scene was alive. I didn't get out to a lot of them. I know you think the way I talk that I'm an extrovert, but I'm pretty introverted. I kind of I don't run around town a lot. You won't see me out a lot if you ever notice.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making things happen behind the scenes.
I'm very comfortable behind the scenes. I never planned on with Chianti being in the front. I really didn't, and it worked that way. I was Rich Marino, and the first day I opened up, they're like Richard, and I became this I became this different person that they wanted me to be, and I was happy, being that guy. So only my mother called me Richard when I did something wrong, and all of a sudden it was like I was on the money, So it was time to go.
She used the middle name too. That's when you're
Yes,
really in trouble.
no, that actually from my dad. Then I was in trouble, Or the famous words, just wait till your dad gets home, which was fair to any human being,
yeah,
right?
the anxiety that builds from that.
Oh my God. I'll tell you how ridiculous I am. When I was a kid, my mother gives me my shirt for church for that day. I'm probably third grade, fourth grade, and the shirt is pink. And I look at it, I go, I'm not wearing a pink shirt. She goes, all the boys are wearing pink. None of my friends are, right? And she said, well, you're going to wear the shirt. I go, I'm not going to wear the pink shirt, Mom. I'm thinking my friends I'll never get the end of it, right?
Sure.
She goes, your dad, when he gets home, he's out jogging, he's going to make sure you wear that shirt. So I tore it up and threw it out the window. right?
Smart.
Now,
Yeah,
I
of
went
course.
to church black and blue, but not in pink, and I felt like I won the battle. That's how bad it was. It wasn't actually black and blue, but yeah, I actually destroyed the shirt. I figured I had to change the parameters of the game, right?
You can't wear it if it's destroyed.
Right, absolutely.
Hey, you're a thinker.
Then my son, I remember one day just comes home, Dad, look at the clothes I bought for school. They're all pink. I'm like, wow, he's so different than me.
The full circle moment.
Oh my God, he's just a better person than me. That's all. He's more open-minded.
All right. Well, listen, it's going to take a lot to convince me that you're an introvert, but I do want to touch on one of your most extroverted days during COVID. I've heard the story of you bringing live music to hundreds of driveways in one day.
That was crazy.
Can you tell
right?
me a little bit more about how that came to be?
Yeah, sure. We got a call from was it Beverly Homecoming Committee? I think it was.
Sure.
And they said because we couldn't have gatherings, they had this idea of put us on a flatbed truck, and people could pay for us to drive to the house. And of course, the money went to Homecoming, and we would do a song in their driveway. So I said, sounds like a really cool idea. Let's go for it. So then. I remember I visited someone involved in it a few days before, remember the week before, I go, how many tickets have you sold? They said 39. I go, well, be careful, stop at 40. You know how long it takes to drive to 40 houses and do a song? That's kind of a day, right?
Of course.
So then 2 days before the event, I checked on the truck. And it was this tow truck that's used to pick up tow trucks, that type of a thing. Oh. Bottom line was, it was all steel. And I'm like, guys, this isn't a parade where we go 2 miles an hour. We need to be able to move. So I went and bought plywood and 2x4s. I bought every clamp, pulley, cable, ratchet, caulking, freaking, you name it, edit that. And I put it all on this truck, right? So once the band, we got everything on and we did our sound check, I had my bandmates come off and I get out the power drills and I bolt everything down, right? Because I know we're going up and down hills, right?
Yeah, the streets of Beverly, you gotta be able to hit a pothole.
Well, the killer is they sold 80 tickets. And I'm like, guys, we're gonna do 80 houses? That's just an impossibility,
So you asked
right?
them to stop at 40.
Yes, right? And they
said,
doubled
sure,
it, right?
we'll sell 80.
So we had, I won't use the names, but we had someone from the committee on the truck with us and someone in the front navigating. So off we go, and sure enough, we're going up and down. There was one house, we were on a street like this. I remember thinking the drum was going to fall over and hit me. Luckily, I had my cup Velcro to the table. It was one of these things, right? But people, here's how much it'll be for me. There are very few days that will go down as greater than that for me, because first of all, I didn't understand it was being live feed on Facebook. So I would be confused. We would take the turn into a street and everybody would come out. And actually, I get emotional thinking about it because people really missed being out in public. And they treat us like the Beatles. We would come in, they'd all be cheering. And it was so surreal. And I didn't understand how everybody else knew. I didn't realize that they were following it. And so we started at 2. We played straight to 6:30, and we came to the downtown area, and as we're going by Chianti, I go, hit the brakes. So we run inside and we drink the year-old beer that's been sitting in the place.
Of course.
And one of the people in the committee said, the navigator said, I have to leave now. I have a family party. And I said, no. I go, you booked the 80. We're willing to do it, but you're going to be navigating, right? So I said, call your husband, which she did, and she got out of the thing. And then I said, what do you drink? And I basically took a funnel and poured Patron down her. And I said, back on the truck. And the last thing I did was grab a bunch of lights because I knew we were going to go into the dark. Yep. And we played till 11 p.m. And we hit all 80 houses. And I remember when I saw the videos the next day, people would post it. It was funny. You'd see us at 2 p.m. We're like, baby, baby, falling in love. You'd see us at 10 o'clock going, baby, baby, falling in love. It was like we couldn't sing. And
you played for what, like 12 hours?
We played 8 hours straight. And we're not, a jam band where we have long guitar solos or anything like that. Sure. So it's 8 hours of singing, Oof. And it was crazy. We got back to the place in Beverly Farms where the truck was. Now it's going to take me hours to unload and unbolt and ratchet. We get a minute to it. We are so because remember, we've been also bumping like this for 8 hours. Yes. So I just said, leave it. I'll do it in the morning. And we go, I leave $3,000 of equipment on the back of a thing outside, and I go home.
You're in the farms.
Right, in the farms, right? Yeah, they actually leave stuff for you on there, right? And I woke up about 7 in the morning. I'm like, what have I done? And I went over there and started taking it all apart. But I will never have the words to thank Beverly for the way that they treated us. My memories of going down Lothrop Street and people cheering and going through the apartment buildings on Ranch and people out on their balconies. Yeah. It was mind-boggling. It was the most it made me just, I already loved these people so much, made me love them more because I realized how much they missed each other, and so it was one of those memories that I will always be grateful for. Now, during COVID, I completely changed my look. I had grown this very long beard, and I was wearing a hat and these ground glasses because I decided I needed a getaway, but I couldn't go anywhere. So I had an internal vacation, and I changed my look. I would walk by people I love, and I wouldn't say hi to them. I just wanted to watch them. And so people would call me and say, "Were you on the truck?" I'm like, I was the guy in the back, the Jerry Garcia looking guy. I was fat, so I was more like Cherry Garcia, but I was on the back doing my thing, But it was a magical day. Wow. I'm so grateful that we had that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible thing to be able to do in a day. And like you said, it's because the community here cares so much and we love each other so much that was it was something that was so needed.
It was palpable, you know? And yeah, it's incredible. I've done things right in my life, I've done things wrong in my life, but my God, landing in Beverly, what a decision, I just can't say enough. I love it here.
Well, I feel the same way. And I will say, too, when we started planning Beverly 400 events and the Arts Committee was kind of, we had so many ideas on the table, so many great ideas for what we could do with this city. PorchFest came up a few times, and it was sort of looking back at what you had been able to do during that homecoming season, during COVID, and just knowing that there was an appetite for that style of music, community building. We just kind of thought, you know what, like, I do think Beverly is ready for a PorchFest. We might be a little spread out, but I think we could do it.
I think so too. I think it's a great location.
Yeah.
It is. I hope people come out. It's a wonderful place to watch a band play, and obviously the Cabot did a bunch of events there and others, and it was successful. And what a way to end the day. And there's something. The actual name Rule of Three, my band name, comes from three-part harmony. What happened when I first joined this other band, the Skatey Cats, they were a two-part band, they were wonderful, and I added a third. And then as I was opening up the club, I said, guys, I'm gonna have to take a break because I have to run the club. And they said, we're gonna wait for you. And I said, why? And they said, haven't you noticed the minute the third harmony comes in, it reverberates. It's something about the magic of three. And that's from that moment on, that was kind of the birth of Rule of Three. And when I started a band, I'm like, I'm gonna base it off of that. And it's true, from the stage, we see it. We see the minute it goes to three-part harmony. So that's what we'll bring to the farms, to the farms, to Hale Farm, is that whole thing of the magic of three-part harmony. We don't try to show off on our licks and while we're playing. We celebrate, harmonies in our songs. I actually don't do breakup songs or sad songs anymore. I decided I'm closer to my grave than to my birth. Let the young guys sing about breakup. I'm done with that. I'm going to sing about love before they kick me in the hole. So we sing about positive things and have fun with it. It's going to be a big hole, I know, but they're going to do it.
I cannot wait. Okay, actually.
Cannot wait for the big hole?
No!
The last gift I'm going to give the world is, 6, hernias for my pallbearers. So I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Okay. I knew we needed a script for this one. All right. Let's break down for the folks watching and listening what PorchFest actually looks like, because I don't even know if I've kind of run through what the day looks like for you, but I know you're a big part of it. So, May 30th, it's a Saturday. We did test run PorchFest last year. It was a Saturday in, was it May? Yeah, it was May. It was a downpour. It was a complete and utter just deluge. And we decided originally, we'll test run this PorchFest concept in Ryleside only, because it's just it's a unique little community that is really tight-knit and easy to kind of navigate, and also it has no working bridges, so less cars, we can walk around. It was incredible. Yeah. The amount of people that came out was it showed us we never need a rain date, and it's gonna work. This is what Beverly needs. So this year, May 30th, 12 to 4, we're expanding the Ryleside PorchFest. So we're gonna start in Ryleside, folks, 12 to 4. We'll have bands on porches. It's gonna be an incredible first part of the day. And then from 4 to 6, we're going to be encouraging folks to make their way downtown, because we're going to keep the music going. It's going to flow directly into the downtown. We've been working really hard with Beverly PD and the City Hall just to make sure that we're keeping things safe and accessible. But we have a really cool route from Odell Park up Broadway, a little bit onto Cabot, and then over to Hale Farm. So it's this nice little walking path.
So cool.
We'll have live music, acoustic sets, everything going on from 4 to 6. And then at 6 o'clock, our headliner performance at Hale Farm.
We're so excited, and we're going to be bringing Pete Nintendo as our guitarist. Pete has been a regular member of the band. He is now in a national touring act, and he's in Florida tonight. And so that's why we've been interviewing new guitarists, because this man is on away 40 weekends of the year now. And but we were so excited because he played with us. We played at Chianti in January and February with him, but that's usually it, because then he's on the road the rest of the year. And by a miracle, he was available on PorchFest. So we are so excited to have Pete with us. He is just a brother to us, and his guitar work, his singing, he's incredible. So we're gonna bring the game. We're gonna bring our A game. We can't wait to play there. I can actually hear the music from there from my house. So I've always dreamed of playing there. So I appreciate that we get that opportunity.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
And I have to work hard to make sure it's right, or my neighborhood will be laughing at me. So I gotta
Everyone
get
can
it right.
hear you.
They can hear me, right?
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. We've been working really hard with Abby from Historic Beverly to, thankfully they were just so welcoming and allowing us to use. I like to just call it Beverly's first porch, because it is at the historic Hale Farm.
I love that, Beverly's
And
first.
I
It's
think
great.
it's just going to be so cool. And folks can bring lawn chairs, picnic table. Bring a picnic table. I don't know. Bring a picnic blanket. We'll have food trucks. We'll have some drinks, and it's just going to be a really
Bring your
cool.
spirit, right? And come in. So, our music is sing-along music. So sing with the band, have fun, celebrate. It is, why we have a dance element to our music. I really focus more on the sing-along part of it. We want people we want people singing those songs when they go home, I do a trick sometimes. Sometimes we need a fourth harmony, but there's only 3 guys. So what I do is we skip the most famous harmony, because we know the audience is singing that. So then it sounds bigger. They don't even realize they were actually part of the band for that song. So there are ways to expand on it,
All right.
Yeah.
So singing encouraged or
absolutely.
possibly required.
Yes, and then we will be, don't know what it's going to be yet, but we certainly invite people back. We're going to do some type of after party at Chianti for anyone who wants to come back, and maybe Rule of 3 shows up there as well, and we'll see. But we're definitely going to do something at the end of the night too, because
amazing.
Well, we have
you bring the energy, because when I was talking to you about, we have 6 to 8 set up for you. Do you need a break? Do you want to have an intermission? And you told me absolutely not.
No.
You're going to play through.
We just did an 8-hour thing, right?
Yeah. If you
So
can play for 8 hours on a truck, you can play for 2 hours.
Oh my God, I can't wait. And no, that is a perfect time for a show, because people hopefully have had music all day. So I think seeing me long enough, my wife doesn't want to see me that long, so it's fine. So it's great. I say, okay, is it real? I don't know, but just kidding. I love you, honey.
Josie, we love you.
I do.
Thank you for.
I do love her. I really do. She's the best.
Oh my gosh. All right, so that's great. Good to know that we'll have a little bit of an after party over at Chianti on the 30th.
Absolutely.
Amazing. We're hoping that there's a few other. We just want to keep the music going all day. Why not?
Why not? And I'm thrilled that we're showing love to Ryle's side. We have our block parties here. We have their things. We have such wonderful people on that end of the city, and obviously they've been on the Isle of Ryle over there. So, I think it's wonderful that it's set up on that side. I was really, when I first heard that, I thought that was so cool. So, this town has, it's like a mini metropolis, right? We have so many different areas with their own personalities. And
it's true. Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a wonderful, complex city, There is, what is a Beverlyite? They're all big hearts, but all different minds. They all have different things, and they all bring a little piece to this. What I think what I sensed from the day I moved here is that people wanted it to succeed. People believed in this town, and we just had to kind of nudge it forward a little bit, and so everybody does. Everyone brings something to the game.
Definitely, we're a town full of characters.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. One of my secrets is I actually sit up on the roof of Chianti quite a bit and just watch the town. Yeah, I think you once I was with Jamie up there one time.
Oh,
once,
I
right?
walked by and saw you guys up
there. And that's my little hideaway. I'll go up on the roof and just watch, and I don't know how to explain it. It just brings me joy. It really does. So it's I used to, before I was a salesman, I was in an executive world and couldn't stand it. I hated the whole thank God it's Friday attitude. I didn't want any of that. And then one day I went back to my hometown. There's a fruit stand called Roberto's. This is in the 80s. And it was owned by the family. I think it was like the parents and maybe 3 daughters and a son would run it. And they would make fresh orange juice to order. So I ordered my orange juice. I'm standing in the corner. And everyone who walked on the door like, hey, Lindsay, how you doing? Heather, how are you doing? And I was like, oh my God. this is what I want to be. I just want to be a window on the world and just know a community, be part of that, right? And we have this community that's so amazing that way. So it is incredible. I never know what characters walking on my door any night, you know? Love it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being one of the characters of Beverly.
I think I just watched them. my wife told me, especially the years Chianti being closed, she said to me there was nothing more pathetic than me at 9 p.m. because she says at 9 she would always notice I would get off the couch, I'd pace the house for about 5 minutes, then I would sink back on the couch very sad. And she said because that's when I would introduce the band, that's when everybody would show up and I'd say, what did you do today and where were you? And I'm like, I just watched some TV and go to sleep. Like, this is it. Like, where is everybody? So it's great to have a little bit of Chianti back going.
Absolutely. We're all better for it.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for doing that for Beverly.
Oh, please.
And thank you for being part of PorchFest, and thank you for being here today.
I appreciate the invite, and thank you for promoting all the great things in the town. You're a character in this town. You've added so much to it, and I appreciate all you do, including your podcast. And let's keep going. Let's take a second. You know, when I first moved here, everybody was like, why aren't you in Salem? That was the place. I'm like, leave the witches over there. The riches are on this side of the bridge, you know? And there's so much. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I love my friends in Salem, but Beverly's the place. It really is. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I agree fully. And I am honestly quite surprised we got through this podcast without having major edits for our team here.
I was very concerned.
Nicely done. We locked it up. Thank you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. It was great to be here today.
Folks, we'll catch you next month, but at the end of this month, we'll see you at PorchFest on the 30th.
Baby, falling in love. We'll see you there.
See ya.